All right, we're live.
What's up, man?
What it do? What it do? All right, so let me. I'm gonna share this out to my personal page so I can tag you. And so if my screen goes blank, it's because I backed out of the web browser for a second.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, we're live. All right, cool. I'm back. Daniel Partland, what are you doing, buddy? So that's my friend Daniel Partland. He's a country singer. Goes by Southern Patriot.
All right. Cool.
Mark Hollinghead, how you doing, buddy? So Mark Hollinghead's wife, her dad passed away, so y'all keep them in the prayers. And if you'd like to come on as a guest next week, Mark, let me know. Mark's got a powerful testimony he wants to share. All right, so everybody share this live out. I just shared it out. The internet's messed up on my computer, so I'm having to use my phone to share it, but we got it shared. I got 4 people in here. Let's get 10 people in here as the goal. So this is my awesome friend Matt Marshall. He's been on the show before, 2 or 3 times before. He is the former drummer for the Georgia Boys. Oh man, we're doing dang near skippy, Mark. Except for me, I got some shoulder pain and neck issues. Pray for that. But he's the former drummer for the guitarist, Georgia
Guitar.
Boys,
Yeah.
Apalachee Falls, and then of course the Marshall Brothers with your brother Trevor. So just introduce yourself, tell everybody about your music.
Oh, it just put me right on the spot. Okay. Uh, well, let's see. I don't know. I started playing guitar I started getting serious about guitar probably about 14, 15. There was there was like always acoustic guitars sitting around the house. Dad always had a few. 18, moved to Georgia, went to Atlanta Institute of Music. Uh, I was playing in a lot of different cover bands, playing in bars, doing a lot of drinking. Uh, Jumped in with the Jawga Boys. That had some success with some some music with them. Did some music with Apalachee Dawn. Several songs went viral, like several millions of views and stuff. Did a project with my brother, with Marshall Brothers. We got a lot of songs out on the YouTube page. But yeah, it started. So I got all this playing music in bars and at mud bogs and stuff. It led me down like a road of, and I was already dabbling with a little bit of drinking, even before that, like probably like 19, 20, when I started drinking and then playing music at bars and stuff. That kind of like empowered it a little bit, being around that atmosphere all the time. I went through a breakup, started drinking like even more, got in trouble with the law over some silly stuff. yeah, I decided that like I needed to make a change, a big change, because it was just a path of destruction. So I went to a rehab, a Christian rehab called it was True Purpose Ministries, and then I did like 18 months there, which if you say 18 months, you get this above and beyond award, which I really made it to go to get that. So I got like this little plaque over here somewheres, and that really helped me a lot. Like just like a wake up call of like how life can be enjoyable and in a social setting without having to have alcohol in me. Which I was known for being the wild child, the man child, which that's a nickname I got when I was 19, playing music in a bar. I was playing some Muddy Waters song. Just, I'm a big blues guy, so like there's this song "Manish Boy" where Muddy Waters screams out, "I'm a man child," and I was singing, playing that one in a bar, and then I was 19. I probably looked like I was like 15 or something. So like all the people I was playing music with at that time, they were old, guys in their 50s, 60s. So they just started calling me that. Actually, the lead singer of a band called Roadhouse. He was the lead singer of the band I was in then. The band changed its name from Fester's Farm to Roadhouse, like after I left. But he started calling me Manchild like during the shows, and the nickname just kind of stuck with me throughout the other bands and projects that I've been in. And that's like my publishing name, so I'm kind of stuck with it. I kind of wish I could like rebrand myself in a way, because
Yeah.
after I did the I got baptized the first time when I was 9 years old at Northport Baptist Church in Newport, Tennessee. Walked up to the preacher after Sunday school and told him I wanted to be baptized. I remember that feeling. I was 9. After I got into high school, I guess, rock and roll, started playing guitar, started playing a lot of classic rock, and started learning licks like AC/DC licks and Guns N' Roses licks, and Eagles, Bad Company, like classic rock, all that stuff. I really like that. I was in a metal stage too in high school, like Metallica, but I got further away from God during that point, and uh, when I went to the music school, Atlanta Institute of Music, which I've dropped out of that place like twice. Uh, and started playing in bars. That like kind of put me even further away. But after I went back into rehab to like clean and sober from everything, I never really had a problem with like hard drugs, but alcohol and weed, that was more or less my thing. More so alcohol than weed. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to like find it, but it was around during that environment. Uh, but I decided I wanted to get baptized again while I was in True Purpose Ministries, and so I got baptized again at New Hope Church in Sevierville. That's a pretty cool church. They got like really good live music. And life just seems to be better and more enjoyable and just healthier. Just trying. Now, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, but just trying hard to live by like Jesus's teachings. Just trying to be a decent human being, making decent choices from day to day. Like that whole saying, "What would Jesus do?" Sometimes you got your moments where you want to like question things and get aggravated about how things are going in life or whatnot. But then, and it's funny that you brought up the topic of God's timing. being that the topic of the conversation tonight, because it wasn't long ago, like even after I redevoted my faith and baptized, where bad things started happening. It wasn't necessarily my fault or anyone's fault really, but I found my stepmother dead after she had committed suicide, and my father has Alzheimer's, and he was recently put into like a memory recovery center, and like he's had it really rough, like over that, but he's always been very cheerful and always been really, he wears a cross necklace like every single day. And after after these bad things were like happening like in my life, I was questioning like, well, why is this stuff like happening? Like, I was like such at a high point, thinking about how much better I felt about my life and what direction it was going, because I was living a better life, a sober, better life. And then things, just bad stuff start happening. And, then you start questioning like God's timing. And so I kind of like dove in deep, reading the Bible, and like the Bible, you later find out that like the Bible tells you what you need to know, not what you want to know. If that makes any sense. And I got to the point where like you just you just got to put in like the Lord's hands. And I do think that like it is okay to question, because a lot of people, and I'm sure people's been questioning like the timing of things for probably just ancient age old question. It's like 400 years between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I'm sure there was a lot of people questioning, the timing there, and also, different things. But that's just like, just a little rundown of kind of like where I'm at in life now.
And AJ says, I seen Matt at one of his worst times.
Oh, is that AJ Palmer? I need to go to
Yep.
the comments. Let's see, how do I do that? What if I click?
Yeah, you should be able to click the three dots and click comments, I think. And then also, it even shows comments that I highlight too.
Oh, okay. I see all these. I'm scrolling back now, seeing a few different things.
And AJ says, I'm glad he turned to God.
AJ, so this is kind of neat. I got in trouble from alcohol, and AJ, when I got released from jail, I was in jail for, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks total, because it was reoccurring incidents. It's alcohol related, just being dumb, wild. And I remember AJ, well, there was another officer that wanted my autograph, and when I was in there, I signed a napkin, and he gave it to his son. He said that his son was like a huge fan of Jawga Boyz and Apalachee Falls. And then when I got released, the AJ, who was an officer, are you still an officer now? I'm not sure, but he walked me out and let me out, and he gave me this rundown, and he was like, man, you need to get your what together. He was like, there's a lot of people out there, there's kids that look up to you, and you just need to get it together. And I'd already I'm not sure I'd decided that time to go into a like a Christian rehab, but that stuck with me, like, and I've always respected the law, and back the guys in blue. I don't want to be on that side anymore, on the wrong side, But that stuck with me, that like there's these people out there that like look up to me that I wouldn't really like. I wasn't taking consideration in at the time that people was. I mean, like the views and stuff on the band pages and on the songs that I'm on. There's like so many of them, and I wouldn't like. I guess really take a lot of them to heart for like how much people enjoyed the music that I've been a part of. But you know, but that really stuck with me. Okay, I see the comment. No, sir, I'm medically retired. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your retirement, AJ. Yeah, AJ saw me when I was reading back some of these comments, but that stuck with me. And when I got out, I think when you're in like rehab for a while, like the first 7 months, you ain't got like access to a phone or no like communication with social media and stuff like that. And then it may have been like maybe close to a year or something before I communicated with AJ again. And like we chatted each other, and I was like, man, that has always stuck with me. That little third degree that you gave me, walking me out of jail. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, man.
He says that's first time he met you was you were broken down on the side of the road.
Yeah, I remember that day too. I didn't know who he was. I was the transmission went out in that F-150 I had. That's why I got rid of that truck, because the third time it went out, I was like, I'm done with this truck. But I think that was the second time it went out. And I had, he just randomly stopped. I'm sitting out on the side of Highway 78. I think I'm just like leaning against the car or something. And this guy just randomly pulled up beside me and offered to help me out. And that was really cool. That's how that was the first time I met him.
That's awesome.
And then he wasn't a police officer then. I think he worked for Napa or maybe AutoZone. It was one of those. Maybe it was O'Reilly's. I'm not sure. It's one of those parts stores. And the dude
Awesome.
just like pulled over randomly. He recognized me from the music videos. I remember that because he was like, "Wait a minute, I know who you are." And he helped me out on the side of the road. And it's just thank goodness for people like that.
He says O'Reilly's.
O'Reilly's, yeah.
That's cool. See, everything happens for a reason. God puts people in your place for a reason. His timing is perfect.
Yeah, it's I learned to just kind of put it in God's hands, and I used to question his timing when like certain bad things was going on, and then it's like, well, all you got to do is like just put it in his hands, and then try to like live a decent life, which it really helps. Like the New Testament is like just life changing. It was for me like digging in deep and trying to have that transformation to where like where like the scales fall off your eyes. Like what was that with Paul? And yeah,
And so,
life just seems to go better. And like even though like the worst things could happen, and you still like find a way to get through it instead of like just keep getting like buried with all this negativity, bad stuff. Now it seems like when you after you go through that like that transformation and have that like faith in you.
and see, our biggest problem as people, we're stupid. And we try to fix everything ourselves. Well, I've got to fix this. And especially as men, well, I got to be a man. I've got to do this. I got to do this, the manly thing to do. I'm going to be, just authoritative and like, and God says, no, slow your roll, homie. You can't fix everything yourself because you're in this problem for a reason because you can't fix it. And if you can't fix it, you know what you got to do? You got to do what Matt did. Go to God and say, hey, I can't do this no more. And when God says, give it to Him, He doesn't say give 2 3/4. He doesn't say give 50%. He says give all of it. That means every bit of it. You have to surrender all the stress, everything you're going through. Until you do that, things ain't going to get better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. And people's going to go through like different seasons, like good seasons, bad seasons, and and you got to try to be ready in season and out.
Amen to that. you know, God says, hey, it's easy. Come to me. But we as people, we tend to overcomplicate it. The devil throws stuff in our path, says, no, God can't do this. If God can create the earth in 7 days, surely He can take our little minuscule problems, which is small compared to what some people go through, and just kick it and just get rid of that problem. But we have to learn to trust Him and quit trying to do things on our own. We have to figure out it's okay. It's okay to surrender and say, you know what? I can't do this. I cannot do this without God. I can't do this without help. Pride is obviously the Bible says pride's a sin. Pride just gets in the way, and you have to
Right
let it.
before the fall. Yeah.
Exactly, pride for the fall, and you just have to let it go. And, what's the old saying? Let go and let God. That's all it is to it.
Oh yeah.
And like I've always believed that everything happens for a reason, and God's timing is perfect. So, have you heard my story about what happened to me last year at the racetrack?
No, I haven't.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna tell it. And there's 3 people in here, or actually 4 people. Everybody keep sharing this live. Tag your friends. Let's get 10 people in here. So, anyways, so of course everybody knows I'm the announcer at a dirt track here in Alabama called Tri County Speedway. And shout out to the Day family that I work for. They're super awesome. They let me tell people about Jesus, and then I get to play Christian music over the track radio, which is awesome. And so, or track speaker, excuse me. And so, anyways,
That's cool.
I've always had vehicle problems, and with my new Colorado being down a good bit, and then my Nissan Frontier, aka the Rice Rocket, down a good bit. And so this is right along the time last year I was getting my transmission rebuilt in the Colorado. And my dad let me use his Subaru Forester to go to work in. And so we race every 2 weeks. And so I was going to work, and there's this little redneck community I passed called Range, and there's nothing there but farmland, houses, and a volunteer fire department. That's all that's there. It's just a little hole in the wall community. If you blink, you miss it. So, anyways, their fire department there, every time I go by it, I work at a Mack truck dealership full time. So I love antique fire trucks, especially if it's an old Mack truck. And so I've been seeing this antique Mack fire truck sitting outside. I said, man, this thing been out here for months. Why are they letting this thing go to rust out here? This thing's too nice. I ain't never seen one like this. And so finally, one day after a few months of passing it, going to work, I said, you know what? I'm going to stop. I stopped to take a picture. I got out there and was looking at it. It's like, man, this is the coolest fire truck I've seen in quite a long time. This thing is, I could tell it was in bad shape, but I could tell it was nice enough it could be restored. And I remember taking a picture of it. And I go to back up, and I'm about to leave to go back my route to work, and I'm looking out this window instead of the backup camera. And then next thing I know, boom! And I said, "Oh gosh, I hit something." I get out and I look, and it's a fire hydrant. I done smashed a fire hydrant with his car. I was like, "Oh my gosh," I was sick. I was so mad. I said, "Man, he finna kill me. I done destroyed his car." I said, "Man, I destroyed the bumper." So I was upset. So I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I go to work and I see Miss Marilyn in the tower, and her husband owns the racetrack. I was surprised to see her in the tower because she had the virus a few years ago and it had messed with her lungs. So she usually don't walk up the tower because she's out of breath. And I saw her up there. I said, "Wow." And so we're talking, and I asked her about this Christian rock concert that I've been wanting to do up there. She was telling me we were talking about that. And I was all fired up because we were talking about that and thinking, man, this may happen. And then she hands me 2 bags of t-shirts to pass out. And she says, "Hey, during intermission, I want you to go out there with the fans and I want you to pass out t-shirts and just kind of throw them out in the stands." I said, "Okay." She's like, "I got a bag for this side and a bag for that side." I said, "Okay, cool." So I'm all fired up. I'm in a better mood. I was like, "Yeah, man, this is great."
Mm.
Well, then I'm getting to announce, and we have, you ever been to a dirt track?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what a hot lap session is. For those who don't know, a hot lap session is basically free practice laps. And hot laps are usually less than 5 laps. So like 3 to 4 laps, if that. And so they give them a free practice laps. And so the cars were doing their hot laps. And then I walk out the tower and I'm standing on the platform because it's a crooked stairs, like stairs go up and then turn and comes into the tower. And so I'm standing on top of the platform there and I look over and I keep seeing the fans on the left side bleachers. I keep seeing them look out towards the highway there. And so the track's right beside the main highway. And then there's a brand new dollar store they built in front of the racetrack. And I'm looking out there and I see fire trucks everywhere, like 4 or 5 fire trucks. I hear an ambulance. I said, "Man, what in the world?" And so I go back inside and I announce, I said, "Hey, it looks like there's an accident or something by the road. I don't know what happened because the dollar store was blocking my view, but I could see all the fire vehicles there." And I announced, I said, "Hey, if y'all would pray for those involved out there, it looks like a bad wreck or something. I don't know what happened." And I asked everybody to pray. Well, then I walked back out like a minute or two after saying that. And this girl walks up to the bottom of the tower there and she says, "Hey," she says, I want to give you an update of what happened." Okay, cool. And she says, "Well, it was a family. It got hit head on and their car caught fire and it burned to the ground." And I said, "Wow." And she's like, "But they got out. They're okay." And I said, "Wow, that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that." Well, then I give the praise report, whatever, and I go about my business. Well, then it gets intermission, and we done the giveaways we do at intermission, and I'm playing music or whatever, and I get a knock on the door, and I look at Jamie that works in the tower with me, and she's the race director that in charge of scoring and whatnot. And I look over to her, and I said, "Hey," I said, somebody's knocking on the door." She looks at me. She said, "I think that's for you." My eyes got a bigger round as a quarter. I said, "Do what?" I go open the door, and it's a guy standing there with a little girl. And this guy says, he says, "Hey, are you so and so?" They said, "Well, you was the one that asked everybody to pray about that accident out there. Are you the one?" I said, "Yes, I was." He said, "Well, I just wanted to let you know that that was me and my family in that wreck." And he said, "A guy hit us head on going 90 miles an hour. And he said, if you hadn't asked everybody for praise, we wouldn't have made it out of that car." He said, "We got out of the car and the car burnt to the ground and we lost everything in that car." He said, but if you hadn't prayed, we wouldn't have got out of that wreck. And man, I lost it. I start crying, and I don't cry about nothing. And unless it's really something, and
Oh,
then like, yeah, and I tried my best not to let him see me cry. The only thing I knew how to do, I didn't know what to say. I was floored. And I said, well, hey, can I pray for you? And he said, sure. And I prayed for him on the spot. I put my hand on him and prayed for him on the spot. And I didn't know what to say after that. I said, here you go. I said, let me give you some free merch. So I gave him some free merch we was handing out. And I gave his little girl some wristbands. And I said, thank you for sharing that or whatever. And then he says, so apparently they were coming to the race and they were fixing to turn in, and the guy was speeding and hit him head on. And so I told the guy, I said, look me up on Facebook. My name is Jared Hudson. I said, look me up. And he said, okay, I'll do that. Well, after every race, we always leave, me, my buddy Jamie, and his dad, we always leave. We go to Whataburger. And so, thank you, Daniel. And so we're at Whataburger, and I was telling them that story, and I made a post on Facebook about it. And the guy finds me on Facebook that night and sends me a message. And I told him, I said, you let me know, and I got 5 free grandstand admission tickets for you and your family for the next race. And I remember before I left the racetrack, I went and told Isaiah about it. And Isaiah is Miss Marilyn's son who races and works there. And Isaiah, I said, Isaiah, did you hear what happened? And he said, no. And I told him. He said, oh, I know that guy. He said he comes to every race, and he comes and finds me after every race and thanks me for what we do. And I said, wow. And he said God sent him in that tower because he knew you needed that. And I said, you know what? That's exactly right, because I was having a bad day. I done destroyed my dad's car. I was upset by that. I said, you know what? My problems were no more. Nothing. And I made that post on Facebook late that night. And the next day I was floored because people never comment on my posts. They never do. And I bet you I had 30 comments or more on that post I made at like 2 o'clock in the morning of people commenting. And one lady commented, Miss Becky, she commented and she said, she really put it in perspective. She's like, God knew you needed that. Is why he sent that guy up there. And I said, wow. And the guy came to the next race and found me, and I gave him 5 free grandstand admission tickets. And I remember giving him a witnessing track, and I told him, I said, God loves you. And so now I've got that story to tell from now on. And God's timing is perfect because, here I was all upset. I done messed his car up. And then he sent him up there. So his time is perfect. I'm not going to question it. I mean, yes, as humans, we're going to question it. We're going to like, well, why not now? But but then when you start seeing stuff unravel, you're like, you know what? I'm glad it happened on his time and not the way I wanted it, because if it happened when I wanted it, been destroyed, whatever.
yeah. That, that goes to show that, it's like no matter how bad like things get, uh, there's still more than likely somebody out there that's like got it worse.
That's right.
So like, you know, there's really no point in like just complaining about stuff, even though we do it and I do it. It's
Oh,
hard
yeah,
not to
exactly.
sometimes, but like,
Exactly. We're human. We're going to do it.
there's gonna be like there's always someone out there that's like got it so much worse, something that is so much more unbearable than what we are like complaining about a lot of times. And it just goes to show that that's after that experience, your day probably didn't feel like as bad because that
Nope.
that guy probably he had a really bad day.
Yeah. That's what you call buzzard luck. If you got buzzard luck, you know you got it bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that story. That's a very good,
Yeah.
very unbelievable story.
So and so I've shared that a bunch here on my show, and then the Wednesday night show too. And I appreciate that Daniel saying great story. But you just never. And another thing, you never know what somebody's going through. And here that guy was thinking, well, I'm gonna go the race like I always do, and then boom, you never know. You like the Bible says, you're not promised tomorrow. So in my opinion, you better not wait. You better not, because what if you just never know? Like for instance, we had a thing at church about 2 years ago, maybe. A guy named George, I forgot his last name, George. Anyways, he went to church with us. He was in his 70s. He was one of my friend's uncle. And me and him talked all the time, all the time. And like at church, he'd always bring up a Jerry Clower joke. And so every time we had a church pool party, he'd play basketball with us, and I got along with him. And so one day we had a men's breakfast, and he was on the serve team, and he was serving the breakfast for all the men. Well, I was just we was in the fellowship hall at my church, and there's like the door. There's got two doors here and two doors there, and one of the doors was open right here, and the other one was shut with the little latch pulled up. And I looked, and I seen Mr. George fall, and his head hit the water fountain, and like that scared me. And I've never seen anything like that, and I hope I never see it again. And his head hit the water fountain, and a bunch of the men start closing the door, and they rushed him to the Grove Hill Hospital. And he didn't make it. Like they were doing CPR on the back of the truck, and he didn't make it. And he got to the hospital, and um, they said he was going to be a vegetable. Basically, he made it like a day or two after that. I think that was it. He ended up passing away, and like I'm sure people question stuff like that. And you question, well, why did it have to happen to Mr. George? He was a faithful servant. He was Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Well, like I said earlier, everything happens for a reason. And yes, it was sad that he passed away. Like his family was real close to him, um, and then I'm sure there was other people that saw that just as much as I did. But you're not promised tomorrow. Like he was just serving, doing what the Lord asked him to do, and then boom, with a blink of an eye, snap of a finger, gone. And that's why stuff like that is why I encourage people. Like I encourage people to find Jesus as your Lord and Savior, because that's one reason I pass out witnessing tracts all the time, and I can't get nobody to pass out witnessing tracts like I do. I get upset when I run out of witnessing tracts. Like, dang it, I ain't got another one because I'm trying to get. I mean, I ain't no Bible scholar, and there's probably 15 million questions that I would not answer. But what I can tell you is what Jesus has done for me, and I pass out them witnessing tracts because they're free, and you just never know.
Yeah, yeah. It's the what he's done for me just seems to be like unbelievable compared to where I was at. I mean, AJ, he could tell you, I was a wreck. I was a wretched. Oh man, I'd get drunk and post stuff just so mean. And
and
yeah, it was like one of my friends told me he was actually the drummer for Apalachee Falls. He was like, "Man, Matt, you're like two different people. You're like such a good, genuine, caring person, and then it's like something happens to where like you're just this wild thing and wild child. So I went through a lot of years with just crazy reputation, but like having a few wake up calls and just seeing like just how much like life is better when you to try to put in the effort. And it don't happen overnight, but when you put in the effort to like try to follow Jesus's teachings, like I emphasize on that a lot because it's not only like good moral basic values. It just shows so much like integrity in people and it's just hard to describe really like in a way like best thing to do is just try to be a decent example and yeah I'm definitely grateful.
Yeah, and I hate alcohol. It'll destroy somebody's life in a heartbeat. And I am so proud of this man right here for dropping all that and giving everything to Jesus.
Well, thank you, Jared. I appreciate that.
and
I give
and tell him
glory to God. I give that glory to Jesus.
and tell everybody because I've been following your posts for a while, for a long time, but especially since you became sober. And tell everybody about the cool coins they've been giving you.
Oh, let's see. Actually, they're right over there. Actually, I got some of them hanging on the wall. Like the sometimes I still go to the CR meetings, which is Celebrate Recovery, and it's not just for like addicts or alcoholics. It's like a 12-step program. It's it is a 12-step program, but it's like a Christian version of it. And I've compared like the 12 steps side by side, and I really think that the AA's 12-step program could be like just based off of like these steps, and a lot of them are like Bible verses and stuff that like that came out of the Bible. But yeah, like the first month you get one, then you get one like every month up to a year, and then you get like a metal coin after
Oh,
the year.
cool.
And then after 2 years, after you get up to the metal coins, and then you get one like every year. So I got like a little collection of them hanging on the wall, and then I got like three metal coins put up in the drawer over there.
That's
And
awesome.
a lot of people wear them on their keychains and stuff, like as a reminder. But it's just like a little something to just another go. Because like when you first like the CR thing, it's for like hurts, hangups, and habits. So like some people go there for they're dealing with like grieving and just bad stuff that's happened in their life, and then also habits, which I enjoyed going that. I was playing guitar at the CR meetings I go to, which was the Thrive Church in Sevierville, which I really enjoy that church too. That makes me want to go to another CR meeting just because everyone there is like they've been through it, so like you don't feel out of place like the elephant in the room if you have like that type of problem. Even if you don't have that kind of problem, if you're going through something, it's like celebrating sobriety. Just celebrating uh recovery and being sober. And it's a good congregation, good chit chats and stuff. So
That's
like
awesome.
yeah, I still like going to those. It was cool. Dad would go with me, and he always liked those too. Like going
That's
with him.
awesome. I'm glad you and your dad are so close.
Yeah, the last few years I've been his primary caregiver with his dementia. So uh before that, there was he would always, we would still like talk and communicate and stuff. And he knew that, I was doing a lot of drinking out in the bars and stuff. And he kind of would encourage me, like, cut back and get away from it and stuff. And like growing up and stuff, he didn't really have us kids like in church and stuff. And then when I went to, I went to church younger because of my grandmother. I spent a lot of time with her, dad working and stuff as a kid. And she'd take me to church and stuff. I really enjoyed going to like youth group uh, when I was younger. But
That's
then, like,
awesome.
after I got more into it, after I hit like my rock bottom, which everyone's rock bottom is different. I got people that's told me that they've probably just spilt more alcohol than I've ever drank. And
Wow.
and then they appear and look like they got just fine, perfect life, good jobs, all that stuff. And but the fans, a lot of the fans in the country rap community are all about that that lifestyle. Which none of the music that I was in, I would say for the most part, has always been family friendly with some references towards alcohol. And
Yeah.
none of the music, I never want to be part of like any music that had like very negative impact or negative, like bad language and stuff. But they were like a lot of the songs in the country rap genre hint around about alcohol and some other things. And the country rap genre, it's taken a whole nother swing of things in my opinion, like right now in the direction
Oh
that it's
yes.
going.
Yes.
It's I'm not really sure like how I feel about it. And but
And
so
a lot of these guys ain't country.
when I started with the Jawga Boys, I really like the fact that Derek D Thrash, he always had it in mind. I believe that to keep it family friendly, to like show that like these good old boys do have good morals and they still like to have fun too. I really always like that about it because at first I was against playing in any kind of rap music on with guitar. I was like a straight up just if it didn't have guitars music in it, then I wasn't gonna really going to be a part of it. Uh, I didn't really even like country music, and I didn't like rap. So I was like an '80s rock guitar soloist type guy that just meshed like really good in the genre because I didn't like country, I didn't like rap, but ended up being one of the very first few guitarists to like say they were a country rap guitarist in the genre.
So I've been listening to Hick Hop because the Georgia Boys are Hick Hop basically. Of course, a lot of these artists are scared to say the name Hick Hop. Um,
Yeah, I'd
Daniel
call it that too.
says Daniel says that genre is better than anything it of Nashville. It's more country. I don't. Yeah, and so like I've been listening to this genre of music since 2009 when it got started. And I know
Yeah,
there's gonna be
yeah.
people. There's gonna be people argue with me. They say no, Bone Thugs and Harmony did it first. No, it didn't start as an actual genre till 2009, and y'all started in 2010, correct?
They had already started. Actually, I think D Thrash. Uh, I believe he can date that back to like 2004, but I didn't do anything with them until 2010. Yeah, I believe it was 2010, maybe
because
2011 when I like
I
jumped on board
remember
with it. There was
to
only
tell you,
like maybe 5 groups out doing it when I joined the Jawga
yeah.
Boys that I can recall.
So it started out. I remember starting out with Hick Hop, and then there was country rap, which was Colt Ford and Michael Knight, and then of course Bubba Sparks, and then Hick Hop. You had the Double Wide Boys, which they didn't last long, and then of course you had Kinfolk with Big Smo and Charlie Bonnet the Third. And then, of course, then it just went from there. Had you guys but I remember in 2009, I remember jamming to Double Wide Boys on MySpace, and I was
Oh,
like,
MySpace.
and I'm a huge MySpace fan. I still am. Like I'm on MySpace. I love my MySpace, and so like because I still got an account on there, my original account. I get on there and they got so anyways. So I remember starting there, and then 2010 was when the Georgia Boys came out, and it was the first, and then the first album was Country, Kuntry,
Yeah, yeah,
and
with the big hay
Hey Bales,
hay bale
yep,
on it. Yeah.
and it just blew up from there. And then, so out of all the OG guitarists, of course, Charlie Bonnet the Third, he has a Southern rock group now. Got Charlie Bonnet the Third and the Folk and Gas Holes is the name of that group, and he's got
Yeah.
that. So when the Double Wide Boys broke up, Bottleneck went to go do a solo career, and then Kinfolk broke up for whatever reason, and then Charlie Bonnet got with Jeff McCool, and they started Moxon Creek. Well, then that blew up several years later. They had their little deal, and then they went their separate ways, and now Charlie Bonnet's got a Southern rock group. But I remember I can name all these bands. I remember uh, the group that did the song "Backwoods Raised" with Young Gunner. Oh shoot. Anyways, they didn't last very long. And I remember over the years, all these different groups. But out of all the guitarists, you were by far the best. Charlie Bonnet was up there, and then of course Travis Tidwell. And of course Travis Tidwell has played with Big Smo, Upchurch. And now the cool thing about Travis Tidwell, he's on the path you're on. Travis Tidwell is saved, and now he's doing, fixing to start doing Christian music. So,
Yeah, what do you think about Big Smo pushing Christian music? Like
dude,
all these guys that you pretty much referenced, I got to know them pretty good. Like we opened up for the Lax. We did shows with all of them. We used to hang out, party, and at the hotel rooms. Like Moccasin Creek would open up for us, and then we'd open up for them. We'd kind of like take turns, just depending on like whatever the vendor wanted, I guess. And then I got to know like pretty much all of those guys like back in the day.
man,
And CB3, Charlie Bonnet the Third, he was like the only like guitar player that I knew that was doing it at the time. Like playing, these guys were like rapping about hunting and fishing and being country and stuff with cool beats. But like CB3, he was like the first guitarist that I can recall that was like adding licks to it. That
yes.
wasn't like it wasn't like just samples. It was like, okay, he's adding like live music, real record music instruments on it. Uh, so
So,
like, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well,
But
see,
yeah, what do you think about Big Smo? He's like pushing nothing but Christian,
like,
country Christian rap. When I was in rehab, I was like, all right. And I talked to Big Smo while I was in rehab, and he was like, man, you need to talk to Rare of Breed, because he had done that song with him. That's a Christian
God knows, yep.
song. Yeah, yeah. And I never heard that song until I was in rehab. And then like these guys, they're like felons and convicts and stuff, and they're like, man, check this out. You know Big Smo, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, and then they start playing God Knows, and I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. So, and then I hit up Big Smo on like Instagram. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And now,
So, and now he's doing, so, okay. So to date, so I'm 40. So whatever age I was in 2009, I'm not even going to try to think about that. I was a younger guy, but anyways, I remember when Kinfolk and Moccasin Creek, or excuse me, Kinfolk and Double Wide Boys were doing their thing. I remember when the Double Wide Boys got a website. I was so excited. I was like, man, I've been trying to get everybody to listen to that style of music, and since then, and the ones I won't listen to are the ones that's got cuss words in it, and the ones about smoking dope and that kind of stupid stuff. But like the clean ones, I've
Yeah.
always loved the clean ones. And at first I was listening to a little bit of all of it. Then the more I got older, I was like, some of this is not family friendly. I can't listen to this. But then there's a lot of it I still listen to that's clean. And like I can remember the very first the very first Hick Hop music video ever was the song they did with Sean from Hick Life. The name of the song Hick Life. And they did the music video and it was Big Smo, Kinfolk, they was all every one of them was on there. A bottleneck. And it's like Hick Life, raised on a dirty road, grew up doing what my daddy told. And that song just blew up. And then Hick Life blew up. And then I remember Big Smo and Kinfolk had a video. I don't remember the name of the song. It's been years, and I hope it's still on YouTube. But there was a song they did together as Kinfolk, and then like a year or two later, they broke up. And then Big Smo, all these years, and then he went he went to that country rap thing that Adam Calhoun and all those guys put on last year. And I was like, I follow Uncle Dub too, and Jeremy Garnier, and Uncle Dub was there, and Uncle Dub documented everything because I enjoyed watching Uncle Dub's live feeds because I get to see a lot of these guys like Mike Manic and Mises, a lot of these different artists I listen to, and I'm like, man, this is cool. And they got everybody in the job. Everybody was invited. Even Upchurch was invited. He may say he wasn't, but he was. He was invited, all of them. And I remember Big Smo was live with Triple T on YouTube. And Big Smo was being interviewed by Triple T. This was a few months ago. And Big Smo was talking about, I don't really do music anymore. And he was talking about focusing on his food truck with his wife. And I think his name's John. Isn't John Smith his real name?
Yeah. Yeah, his real name's
Okay.
John.
Okay, that's what I thought. So John was telling Triple T, he was like, yeah, I don't really do music anymore. And he was talking about the drama, and it was a bunch of other reasons he stated. I think it may still be on Triple T's YouTube. But anyways, and he was talking all that, and not even a few months later, like a few weeks ago, I was like, what? I'm taken back. I said, Big Smo doing Christian music, bro. And like, I know there's people out there that are saying they're Christian and doing the thing to get fans to like them and stuff. But I really do genuinely believe that Big Smo is a born again Christian and saved because I've been listening to his music so long and following everything from MySpace to Facebook. And I've always heard him reference God and whatnot. Of course, just because you reference God don't mean you're saved. I get that. But I've been seeing a change in him on his live videos and his stories and everything he's been posting, and I really do believe that he's not faking it, and I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, I do too. I really
I've
do.
never met him. I've never met him. I would love to meet him.
Yeah. Oh, he's a cool dude. Uh,
That's
like
cool.
when I was in rehab, like I don't know, when you go to rehab, you kind of get like this stigmata thing, like, oh, that dude went to rehab. Like you kind of hear things and people talk about it. Well, he had a problem or whatever. But he was
Yeah.
still cool with me. Like we was still communicating back and forth. He was always like really cool like that. Uh, and when I was in rehab, I was like, I'm going to try to do something with like Christian country rap. something along the lines of that. So like I wrote part of Good Shepherd, which it's like rock and roll and it's got rapping in it. It don't really mention like country stuff, but it's like Christian rock rap, I guess. But kind of
So, so that's a good segue into the song here. So tell everybody. So I'm going to play the song "Good Shepherd." It's one of your new singles, and tell everybody, "Hey, Kitty." Tell everybody about the
Ringo.
song. He's pretty. But yeah, tell them about the song, what it's about, and you wrote it and whatnot.
Okay. Well, it's the first song that I could say that like I fully dedicated it to being like 100% Christian song. And then after when I got to where I could record it, like everything needed to be updated, like my recording software, Pro Tools. You got a new digital audio interface, new mics, new plugins, new everything. So this was kind of like a learning curve with me, with all this like new equipment that I had like invested in, and it's the first song that I recorded with the new equipment. Uh, so like I would just describe it as like it came from the heart. I got I'm always going to add like rock guitars and guitar solos and stuff like that in my music, and that's kind of my thing. But the lyrics, it took me a long time to finish it. It took me a long time to like piece everything together to where it would kind of like click a little bit more, because it writing about God was not in my vocabulary really. Uh, Writing other songs and co-writing other songs with other artists in the past, like things will just come to me that'll kind of click. But when you're like specifically trying to like make it devoted just about God and Jesus being like the good shepherd, like it took me a lot more like thought process, I guess. It didn't come uh the music came fast. I already had the music wrote. I wrote the music like long before I got the lyrics finished, and the drums, which the drums were done by uh, Br Braun on the beat. He did the drums, but like the guitars and the bass and the vocals and all that stuff, I did all myself. So that
Well,
that was the first song that I recorded as a Christian song, and also with the new equipment and stuff. So I think it turned out
I,
pretty good. I'm
I tell
happy
you
with it.
what,
I like
you're
it.
you are no doubt like the best guitarist in this genre. I put CB3 second, and
I
no
wouldn't
doubt that.
even I wouldn't rank it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to be ranked.
Oh, that's all right. That's
Yeah.
okay. Hey, let's just say there's some really cool
Oh
good
man,
cats, and you're
my
on the list.
phone is on 3%. I'm gonna have to like do something. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you got a charging cord.
it might cut out, but like if I plug it in here.
That sucks. Like it froze on him while he's putting his cord in. Hopefully he can get his charger on it where it won't die. Cause I'm fixing to play that song "Good Shepherd." I've got it in the queue. All right, let me see here. Let me find the song. And he's not going to be able to hear the song, and the reason why is he doesn't have the second device to be able to listen. Because the way StreamYard works is if your guest wants to hear the song that you're playing, oh yeah, I figured his phone died. Uh, yeah, you can just re-click that link if you get your phone charged enough. You can just re-click it or you can just you can come up from your computer. But yeah, so the way StreamYard works is for a guest to be able to hear the song that's playing, they'll have to watch the live from the desktop or anything or another phone. It says on his desktop it don't have sound and camera isn't set up. Okay, that's cool. So I'm gonna play this song and all right, so let me find it at the bottom here. But this is his new single that he wrote when he got out of rehab. It's called Good Shepherd. And I want y'all to tell me what you think of this song. And when he gets his phone charged back good enough, he can come back in because I'll be live a little bit longer. And so let me hit play and y'all tell me what you think of this song. Matt plays the guitars on this song, the most awesome guitar. And he's got this famous red guitar. I can't remember the brand name. Matt will have to comment. But whichever brand it was, he's been using it ever since the Georgia Boys days. So let's hit play.
In the darkest night, you are my guiding light, a beacon of hope, shining so bright. You're the Alpha Omega, beginning and end, creator of all, my faithful friend, Lord of all creation, you're worthy of praise, majestic and holy in all of your ways. You're the source of life, the giver of grace. I lift my voice, I seek your face. You're the good shepherd who leads me each day through valleys and mountains. You show me the way. You're the rock of ages, steadfast and true. In your embrace, I find strength anew. And when life gets tough and I'm feeling kinda low, I turn to God cause he's the one who knows. In the midst of trials I find my strength. His presence surrounds me, he's my defense. In the moments of doubt when I can't see the way, God's voice whispers to me, child, don't you stray. I am with you always through thick and thin. Trust in me and the victory you will win. The struggles and pain only he remains. I'm never alone and his love sustains. In the darkest nights, he's my guiding light. God's got my back and he's my source of might. So I keep pressing on, trusting in his plan, knowing that he holds me with his mighty hand. In the face of adversary, I won't be shaken, cause God's got my back and I'm never forsaken. You're the good shepherd who leads me each day through valleys and mountains. You show me the way. You're the rock of ages, steadfast and true. In your embrace, I find strength anew. You're the shepherd who leads me each day through valleys and mountains. You show me the way. You're the rock of ages, steadfast and true. In your embrace, I find strength anew.
Oh yeah, that is Good Shepherd by Matt Marshall. What y'all think about that song? Drop some comments below. What you think? Throw some fire emojis in there. That is so fire. Call the fire department. Hopefully he'll be able to get his phone charged enough to come back in here. Um, man, I hate this. Yeah, so his basement flooded and messed his equipment up. So his computer does not have a built-in speaker, and he doesn't have the camera set up on it. So I hate that, but you'll be able to get it where you back going, right, Matt? Let's see. Oh yeah, since he can't hear me, let's see. He can watch, but I'm thinking, well, no, yeah, he ain't got no sound, so he ain't gonna be able to hear me. Let's see. Let me just type in the comments section. We're gonna do like the Indians and send up smoke signals. How? So I'm just gonna comment. That way he can read my comments. Good song, bro. That was awesome. But that is Matt Marshall, and I'm hoping he can come back in. We can end the show with a good message. But if not, that's okay. I understand. I've been there with my phone dying, so it's been an awesome show. I loved all the stories he shared, the testimony he gave. Like, if he can do it, anybody can do it, man. Like, if you want a better life, look at what he went through. And because he gave everything to God, his life is so much better now. And he's on the right path. And Christian country rap is where it's at. Like, he mentioned Rare Breed. If you don't know who Rare Breed is, his name is Rob Harden. I've met him twice, and I've seen him in concert twice. He puts on the best show of any rapper. He makes Eminem look like a baby rapper. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge fan of his. I'm saying that because I've seen the man live. I've seen the way he commands the crowd. And he's got a big following. For a Christian artist, he's got a pretty big following. And he talks to you like your regular folks. He just old plain old redneck like me and Matt Marshall. And then another one, Levi Mann. Shout out to Levi Mann. His song Letters in Red, phenomenal. Levi Mann has a song called Prayers. He's a redneck like us. He lives in the mountains over there, I think Kentucky. It's either Kentucky or North Carolina, somewhere in there. Levi's just like me and Matt Marshall. He's just old redneck country boy. And Levi does some phenomenal music. And I hope Levi does not stop doing music, man. I hope he keeps doing music. I'm trying to get Levi to come on the show one night. He's gonna pray about it. And I would love to get Levi and Matt Marshall on a song together. I really would. If they both could do a song together, man, I think it would be a hit because they both the same exact kind of music. Christian country rap is basically what it is. Christian Hick Hop. I know a lot of these artists out there are scared to say the name Hick Hop. Don't be scared. That's Hick Hop was one of the originals, the OGs. You can't be scared to say, well, just because a big so and so artist in the country rap genre denounced it a few years ago, just because he did it don't mean you got to do it. Quit being scared of these big artists that are denouncing that name. I've seen so many artists that are scared to say that name, Hick Hop. And really, Hick Hop is a spinoff of country rap. It's a little bit different. The style's a little bit different. You can hear it in the Georgia Boys music. And D Thrash has always said Hick Hop. He's always said the name. And he did a song with Tennessee Shine. He did a song with Tennessee Shine called Hick Hop Thing. And both of them did that song together. Both groups did that song together in defense of the genre name. And so I don't know if he's going to be able to come back in or not because it may take his phone a minute to start charging. So I'm going to wait just a few more minutes. If anybody's got any prayer requests, leave them in the comments section. Of course, pray for me. My shoulder, I slept on it wrong last night. Now my shoulder's throbbing. It needs to be popped back in place, I think. And of course, my neck issues I've been posting about. I've been going to the chiropractor down there in Jackson, total spine rehab. Shout out to Dr. Smith, man. He's been getting me right direction. He popped my neck Monday on both sides, and I didn't know if he was going to be able to pop it because my neck is so tight It's unbelievable. For those that don't know, that are new, that haven't been seeing my post on my Facebook, I have what they call neck neuropathy, which is your neck's out of whack and it's pinching a nerve in this arm right here. My right arm is pinching a nerve, and my whole hand and arm starts going numb. It starts tingling all over. It's a very scary thing, but it's pinching. My neck's pinching a nerve. So Doc Smith is trying to get me corrected. He said it's pretty bad. It's not the worst he's ever seen. The worst he's ever seen, somebody had to have surgery. And thankfully, mine's not quite that bad. But Monday, it was to the point that he said, he's like, how many visits have you been? Close to 8, I guess. And then he says, well, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to get you to do an MRI. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to have an MRI. Because he was asking me about being claustrophobic and in tight spaces. And I was like, yeah, I've had one done before. I'm okay with that. And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, I'm going to get you to schedule an MRI. But then when he got my neck to pop on both sides, he said, you know what? Cancel that. We're not at that point yet. I was thinking we were. I said, man, thank you, Jesus, for answering prayers. If he can ever get my neck straightened out, I got to go tomorrow. So y'all pray for that tomorrow. If I can ever get my neck straightened out, I won't have no more pain in this hand, and my arm and hand won't go numb because I use my right hand for everything. A right hand dominant. I drive with my right hand most of the time. And so when you're driving, or especially if I'm holding the phone and I'm trying to play a game on my phone, then all of a sudden my hand starts going numb and like tingling. Golly. Like I'll be playing a game on my phone because I play video games. And I'll be playing a game on my phone, then all of a sudden my hand just starts doing that. And it hurts, scares the fire out of me. But thankfully I'm at the right place, Total Spine in Jackson. Other prayer requests, my friend Landon Lockhart, pray for I think he said it was his aunt's in the hospital. His aunt was very sick, was in the hospital. So y'all pray for Landon's aunt. Pray for my dad. My dad's best friend died yesterday. It's very sad around here. My dad's other best friend, Steve Kennedy, he passed away several years ago, and he was around my dad's age, and him and my dad were like this. And when Steve Kennedy passed, golly, that was rough on my dad, I'm sure. And then now his other best friend, Steve Glass, he passed away. He just got sick recently. So if you go on my Facebook, on my ministry page and my personal page, you'll see a picture. Sadly, it's the only picture I have of those two because Steve lived over there in Dixon's Mills, and we live in Grove Hill, and Dixon's Mills is about 45 minutes away, so they didn't get to see each other as much as they used to because they used to work together for years. Over 30 years, they worked together at the same college. I believe that's how long they worked together. It used to be called Hobson State University, and then went from Hobson State to Alabama Southern. And so my dad retired from Alabama Southern. He worked there 32 years, so they worked together. I'm assuming they worked together that long, maybe longer. I didn't ask him. I know it's been a long time. And him and Steve were best friends. They did stuff together, and I know my dad was pretty upset. Still is pretty upset by that. He's got to be a pallbearer, carry the casket Monday. And I hate they're having it on a Monday. I wish it was on a Sunday so I could go, but maybe I can ask off for that Monday. But keep my dad in your prayers. I'm sure he's having a hard time dealing with it because he was telling me all kind of stories yesterday of stuff they did together and whatnot. Trying to think of anybody else who needs prayer, has a prayer request. Oh, my friend Erica. If Erica's watching, her friend Robin, or excuse me, her mom Robin, and I think Erica's cousin, and there was somebody else, maybe one of her other friends, that needed prayers. Oh, and pray for TJ's wife, Susan. TJ's wife, Susan, is sick. From what I heard from Adam. Pray for my buddy Adam. I can't wait till I get Adam back on live and back on a show with us. That'd be cool. I miss going live with Adam on the Three Wise Men, and I miss when Jason and Mitchell would come on Three Wise Men. Oh, I said it the first. No, I didn't. I told it to Matt. Pray for JT. JT has been on here faithfully every Wednesday. JT's going through a super rough time right now. He posted about it, and then he asked us to pray for him earlier. Yeah, I'll pray for JT. He could really use it, man. He's going through a really, really rough time, and pray for JT's rock show that he's going to start doing. He's everybody knows he's going to start doing the Facing Goliath rock show, which is cool. It's a Christian rock show he's going to be doing on the air at Quake Radio. And y'all send me a message, and I'll send you the link, or you can go to our Facebook at Quake Radio on Facebook. Go to our website. If you want to donate to help the radio station grow, because we're small, please donate if you can. It don't matter if it's $10. Anything helps. Anything to help the radio station to grow, it'll help with the ministry. Quake Radio's website. You can listen to it online for free. Or you can download the Live 365 app. And when you download the Live 365 app, it's a radio station app where you can type in any genre of music you want to listen to, and you can find a radio station with that style of music. And all you do is type in Quake Radio, which stands for King Without a Crown, every day with a K, and you'll find us on there. It's free to listen to. I'm the marketing director. Okay, cool. Yes, please do. And I'm glad Matt can hear me. So, speaking of Matt, I added your song, Good Shepherd, to the station rotation. We just added some new music, and I can't look right now because the internet's crashed on my computer for whatever reason. But we just added your song to the radio station rotation. So, your song will be played several times a day, I think. Because it's set at random. So in the mornings we play Christian worship music, which is like your K-Love type music, your Tom Golly, Mercy Me, bands like that, Michael W. Smith, Newsboys, that kind of thing. And then at 9 a.m. we mix Christian rock music with Christian rap and Christian worship music. We mix all three genres at one time. Most radio stations just play two genres of music and they mix them together, but I like to mix all three together. And I'm trying to get it set up. I still don't have it set to where I'd like it. I'm trying to get it set up to where it plays more rock songs, because right now it plays a bunch of Christian rap songs in a row, and then it goes to a Christian worship song, and then a bunch of Christian rap songs, and it goes to a Christian rock song. So I'm trying to get that set up correctly to where it distributes all three genres evenly. Because I listen to a Christian radio station in Birmingham, Alabama called Revocation Radio. And shout out to John Walden, the owner of Revocation Radio. They're awesome. I've been listening to them since 2015, and they do Christian rock with Christian alternative and hip hop. And so they mix those. And I love how they do it. They'll play like two Christian rock songs in a row. Then they go to a Christian rap song. And then sometimes there'll be two Christian rap songs in a row. But you always know, you have a general idea of, and I love the way they have that set up. And you can go to myrevradio.com, which is their website. And I'd love to get Matt's song, The Good Shepherd, on that one too. I can send you their website, Matt. You can submit it, see if John will put it on the air. And John Walden's on my friends list. Y'all can look him up at John Walden. And I'm gonna get him as a guest on here one day with Jason. I want to get Jason on here too. That way we can have all the radio people in here. Or all three of us radio people. So yeah, and then at midnight, you can look up our Facebook. We have a page called Midnight Mayhem, which is Christian rock music all the way from midnight until the morning hours. And I think it stops at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then it does commercial ads from then all the way until 7 a.m. And 7 a.m. is when our Christian worship music starts. I'm trying to get that. There's been glitches with Live 365 here lately because they're a worldwide company. They're a huge company. Like they're not small by no means. They have radio stations all throughout the world, and we're just blessed enough to have our station through them. And so I'm glad you got to come on, Matt. I know you may not be able to get back on, but if you do, you're welcome to come back in. If not, I'm going to end the show with a prayer. And y'all, don't forget, drop your comments, your prayers. Shout out to my buddy Daniel Partland that was watching. Daniel, hit up Matt Marshall, man. That guy can help you with your music because Daniel does country music. He's learning to play the guitar. He hasn't been doing it but maybe 2 years, but he's been singing for years. Look up Southern Patriot on Facebook, which is Daniel's artist page. And he's doing his first ever full acoustic solo show at the fair in his area. And he's been playing the fair for years, but this will be the first time. It'll be a first full solo show. So I'm on I don't know what that was, but let's see. Okay, All right, cool. Thanks, man. Pleasure to meet you, Matt, from my acoustic show Saturday. Thomas Kane is closing the show. Yeah, Daniel sent me Thomas's stuff. I need to look up some more of his music, man. I'm sure Thomas looks like he's got a pretty big following. Yeah, man, I enjoyed having you, man. And so Matt, I was gonna tell you this, but then your phone died. So I reached out to Levi Mann, and I sent Matt Levi's music, and Matt was impressed. And so Levi's got the song "Letters in Red." He's got the song "Prayers," and I think "Letters in Red" is the one, the video I sent you to. I'll have to go back and look. But anyways, he just did a music video last year, I think it was, or maybe the year before. But just dropped a new music video, and it's fire. Look up Levi Mann on YouTube. And anyways, I reached out to Levi Mann about doing a song with you, if that'd be cool. I think and I also reached out to him about coming on my show. And if Levi comes on the show, I can get Matt back on here too if he wants to. And but I think that'd be, and he told me he was gonna pray about it because he said he hadn't done music in a while. And I was sad to hear that because some artists, they get burned out. And I'm assuming that's what it come across as. But he said he was going to pray about it and see about it. I think if you get Levi Mann and Matt Marshall on a song together, with Matt playing the guitars and rapping too with Levi, Christian country rap is where it's at, man. Mainstream rap is garbage. Yes, I said it because I've said it many times. And I used to listen. I used to think Eminem was the great. I used to think Snoop Dogg was the best. I've always been a Snoop Dogg fan, but you know what? The older I get and the more I get closer to God, that stuff is trash. That stuff is, the lyrics are horrible. Like, okay, cool. Daniel sent you a friend request, Matt, on Facebook. So mainstream rap, okay, let's be real here. They all rap about the same things. They rap about drugs, girls with big booties, shooting the cops, growing up in the ghetto, cars with big wheels, and every now and then they'll have some good subjects. I'm not saying every bit of it's trash, but a lot of it's trash. And that's usually the general stuff they rap about: shooting cops, going to jail, growing up in the ghetto. I can't relate to that. That's one reason I love Christian rap so much better, because they rap about the good things in life. And which I'll say this: there is some mainstream rappers that don't rap about that kind of stuff, which is great. Um, they can find Jesus too, any of them. And so, like, I relate to Christian rap, especially Christian country rap, like Rev Breed. Like, man, he raps about stress. He raps about life in general. Joe Nestor, sadly, Joe Nestor just passed away. Joe Nestor was another good one. ASAP Preach is my favorite rapper out there right now. He's a redneck like us, and a lot of his music is geared towards the country rap style. Um, and of course Levi Mann and Matt Marshall here, so and Rare Breed, and then Whosoever South. I sent Matt some Whosoever South music, and if y'all have ever listened to them, they're basically Cajuns. They're basically Louisiana backwoods Cajuns, and they rap about Jesus. And I love that swamp style music they do. But okay, it's at the end of the show. I ain't got but one person watching. I went from 5 or 6 to down to one, so that's time to end the show there, compadre. So I'm gonna say a prayer. Oh, and shout out to Jericho. Jericho's another one. That's my friend Jericho Robinson. Matt knows who Jericho is. Jericho Stone. Shout out Jericho Stone. I got this American made hat from him. Go support his new ministry. Jericho Stone has a new ministry, a boys ministry, where he's doing a boys camp that teaches boys how to do men things, how to do b-boys, how to fix cars, how to do simple things in life, how to just do manly stuff. And that's what Jericho's new ministry is. You buy a hat from Jericho, it supports his ministry. He's been on my show a bunch of times, and he makes great music too. He mixes reggae with country rap and Christian music. All three of them genres is what he mixes together. So shout out to Jericho. I doubt he's watching, because I forgot to send it to him that we was live. But anyways, let's say a prayer and we'll get off the show. I hate JT couldn't be on, but God worked it out how it's supposed to work out. And thank you, Matt Marshall, for coming on the show. That's my friend. I've been knowing Matt. We become friends a few years ago through a person that I used to help with their music, and I'm glad we became friends. And that's my brother in Christ right there. So say a prayer to end the show. Thank you, Lord, for this awesome show. Please be all the prayer requests I mentioned. Please help me to get healed up, dear Lord. Please be with Daniel, his acoustic show coming up. Please be with Matt with his new music he's going to be dropping. Thank you so much, everybody that got to watch the show tonight. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. See y'all later. Oh, and by the way, did y'all know that Chuck Norris can make a slinky go upstairs? Zinger. Bye.